When I was younger, I had a massive collection of wrestling magazines, and I just grew up, ran out of space, whatever. And one day I made the mistake of just getting rid of them all, but I actually took the time to flip through them and like cut out any articles or pictures I found interesting. Being a big Shawn Michaels fan, I remember taking a beat when it came to his Advice for the Lovelorn column that appeared in the WWF Magazine. And I wish I knew the exact dates, but I want to say it appeared in every magazine for most of 1995. As it starts where he's a heel and it ends where he's a face. And the fact that they kept going after he turned face is super bizarre and kind of further props up, as he talks about in his book, how there was no plan of him turning face after WrestleMania 11 until that night when fans turned on Diesel after a bad call by Vince to have Kevin kick out Strong after he ate Shawn's super kick. I mean, they had put out a heel HBK home video as well, and it seems like they just completely pumped the brakes on that as well. But regardless, let's take a look at this stuff. I mean, okay, this is the first one right here, and there's no agenda to this. Okay, this is the first one right here, and before we start, I have no agenda to this. I'm not trying to get Shawn or the WWF canceled or whatever. I just think it's funny to go through this in 2023, because I know it started as a way to get this cocky, self-centered character over as a heel, but then they backed themselves into a corner when he turned face, and you know what, let's just get into it. Okay, the first month, Shawn tells needing advice in Virginia that marriage is for losers. And he tells Sleepless in Indiana to always keep an extra local girl on the back burner if you're in a long-distance relationship. Again, I know this is supposed to be coming from an arrogant, self-centered, ego-driven bad guy in a wrestling world, but I just don't think any of this would fly today. Next month, he tells Flabbergasted in Florida, whose man joined the seminary, that it was likely because he had to be around her for 10 years. And then he tells Hazu in Hazeltown that if a gross and ugly guy likes her, it's probably because she's gross and ugly as well, and she should take what she can get. In this case, the girl asking for advice sounds like the heel. You kind of cheer when Shawn shuts her down. So I'm just confused now as we go into month 3, where Mixed Up in Massachusetts feels guilty that he's seeing 2 girls at the same time, and Shawn tells him not to worry because, quote, chicks don't know anything. Over the next couple of months, you could tell they're dialing it back a bit, and there's more mail aimed at Shawn instead of advice. Mortified in Missouri tells Shawn to grow up, and Kicking Back from New Jersey says he hates this column. Then suddenly, on the last month before they add Alunda Blayze, the original incarnation of this column goes hard one last time, where he tells Painful in Pennsylvania that he doesn't care how many brains a woman has, as long as, quote, if you've got the bod, hun, that's all you really need. Just keep that bod cooking, and guys like me will keep looking. Oh, okay, wow. Later in the same column, he tells Miserable in Massachusetts, quote, as usual, chicks don't use their brains, end quote. And finally, he tells Mortified in Massachusetts, this column, popular in Massachusetts. He tells Mortified in Massachusetts she should get used to not being noticed. Again, she's nothing but a woman, and she should take whatever she can get. Okay, I wish I knew what months these all happened in, because now we have this beauty of a pick as Alunda Blayze is suddenly there, and this is clearly, you can tell by his tin-plated outfit, like King of the Ring 1996 good guy Shawn Michaels era. So here we have Shawn still acting cocky and egotistical, but he's basically talking himself up instead of others down. Then Alundra chimes in, and it's just, I don't know, it's boring. Like, Out There in Oregon asks Shawn for a new pickup line, and Shawn says his favorite one is, come here. And Alundra says, is that when you're calling your dog? And Shawn says, I don't date dogs. Now, this is a 2-page spread, and it ends when Alundra tells Shawn that he gave, quote, not bad advice to someone. So now we have face Shawn, who's still egotistical and has never had any problems with women, giving acceptable advice in a magazine column that was supposed to be a vehicle to get him over as a heel when he was an egotistical guy, never had any problems with women. Like, why did they continue this? Next month, he's back on the attack, though. His answers are misogynistic, and it seems like he's trying to annoy Alundra more than the readers. Like, is this starting? Was this supposed to start some sort of feud between the two of them? Because Shawn and Alundra, it's just them bickering back and forth, as Alundra says she never actually sees Shawn with any girls, and Shawn says his mom didn't teach him anything, his dad taught him everything, and this one ends with Shawn telling Confused to cheat with his best friend's girl, and that sets off Alundra, and it ends on this weird, to be continued vibe. This continues next month when Shawn is being a heel. He's back to being a heel. It's another issue of he and Alundra bickering, and she says it might do him some good to be hit by a diesel truck. So, what month is this? Do I have the months wrong? Like, there's no way these were in the 1994 magazine. I don't think I had a subscription in 94. I think it started in 95, so these have to be 95. But Shawn is here, feuding with Diesel. Like, wasn't this like around the Two Dudes with Attitude era? I don't know. Okay. Shawn now goes back to being a full-blown heel, but it's directed at Alundra instead of the folks writing in. And it starts getting more weirdly sexual. At one point, Blayze tells Shawn that he wouldn't know what to do with an older woman, and Shawn asks her if that's an invitation. Like, what? Okay. I mean, that's funny, but like, is this getting Shawn over? Is this getting Alundra over? But that's kind of like a line for a TV audience, right? Like, that's like a burn for like Monday Night Raw. I don't understand what's happening here. What's the finish line, right? What are they going for? The last person that writes in this month says that his girlfriend goes to the beach and wears a bikini that's too small and guys gawk at her, and Shawn asks, what beach is this? Also funny, but I swear this is like full-on 100% babyface on TV Shawn Michaels at this point. Like, this has got to be summer, fall of 1995. This next one is just as bad. He calls her Toots, and she calls him the Heartburn Kid, and it's like an Archie comic where the joke words are in caps. And whatever they are trying to do here, just like, it isn't working, because I read this, and I don't like either of them. The second last one, or I guess, no, is this third last one? I don't know. The third last one. The questions are now about Shawn and Alundra themselves, as Curious in Sherman asks Shawn how he handles being rejected by Alundra all the time, and now Alundra replies, quote, to be quite honest, Shawn has never made a pass at me, and Shawn is always a gentleman around the ladies. What just happened? What just happened here? Next question, Shawn answers that he's not married, not because he doesn't believe in marriage, he just hasn't found the right girl yet. What? Shawn then tells Troubled in Tennessee to ignore peer pressure, and being cool is about doing what you want to do. Like, the train has come off the tracks here, folks. What are we doing? In the second last week, this sudden pivot continues as Shawn tells Honest in Houston that she needs to love herself before anyone else will love her. Then he tells Daring in Detroit that if he's dating two girls at once, he has to be honest with them about it. He later answers Blushing in Brooklyn that he experienced love at first sight the first time he looked in a mirror, which seems on brand, but then he quickly says, just kidding. And then we go to this last issue, the last issue I have, where Shawn is suddenly back to being arrogant in his answers again, but he focuses on himself, talking about how great he is, but then out of nowhere, he says, stay away from chicks that are bigger than he is, like Alunda Blayze. Oh, then one question later, he makes a, that's not what you said last night, joke at Alundra, insinuating they slept together last night, I guess. I don't know. It ends on a nothing note. And now that I'm really thinking about it, maybe this went on longer and I just didn't keep them. I swear I remember at one point, Shawn issuing like an apology. Like, I remember him saying how he used to have a bad attitude when he first started this column or something along those lines. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I remember kind of that being a line in the sand for me, the character. Like, I loved Shawn Michaels, but as soon as I read his like apology about how like he used to have a bad attitude, I was like, well, they've officially murdered the HBK character. Again, I could be remembering it way wrong. Maybe I just stopped cutting them out after this month. I gave up. Heck, maybe I have these in the wrong orders when they ran, the wrong dates. I don't know. I just remember being confused by what the point of this was after he turned face, and like, again, what the finish line for this column was. What was this leading to? Why was he still a heel in here months after he turned face? Did they just type like 6 or 8 months of these out back in like February 1995 and kind of forgot about him after he suddenly turned face after WrestleMania, and they just ran him anyways because no one was paying attention? I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening to me talk to myself. I find this advice column just a fascinating time capsule.